This week on C Plus News Time, Hulu is sick and tired of being last place in the comedy world. But don't you worry, my pretty little viewer. They've got a plan in place to make sure they excel at being relevant. 2 shows are exiting the streamer while 3 new ones are starting up. Can Hulu stay significant in an era that Netflix is trying to dominate? Will I ever pay for the commercial-free streaming option? Will my script about a cartoon superhero be picked up? The answer to those questions and more right now. Yes, no, and hell no. My feelings get hurt, I explain high concepts again, and Hulu gets serious about funny business only on News Time. Go for theme song.
It's C Plus News Time. Delivering to you the news you didn't know about, the news you didn't care about, and the news you didn't know you cared about. With host, Chad White. Now, here's that host, Chad White.
After 3 consecutive sneezes, you have exhausted all the bless yous that I can give. Welcome back to C Plus News Time. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the comedy news you didn't know about for the week of October 16th, 2017. I'm like a shitty pope. Hulu isn't known for its original shows. Just this past year, it was finally recognized for its foray into drama with the airing of The Handmaid's Tale. That show helped the network win 4 out of the 5 Emmy categories it was nominated for, besting Netflix by 1 in terms of drama wins. Take into account that Hulu never has won an Emmy before. Hell, it never even been considered. That's the good news. The bad news is Hulu decided to end the majority of its current crop of comedy shows. The Mindy Project was the first to go earlier this year when the streamer said the new season airing right now is its final one. Mindy Kaling's show had a good life. It was on a show on the verge of cancellation every year when it was on Fox. Plus, the tumultuous background noise really did not help. But Hulu swooped in and saved it only to cancel it a couple seasons down the line. Still, though, it had a better life than most other shows. This week, Hulu came after its other first-rate comedy, Casual. The show is mighty dark but just as funny and never really got the respect it deserved. Maybe because it was on Hulu. Casual lasted for 4 seasons total, another good number for a show, with Season 3 wrapping up last month. Season 4 will make its debut in 2018 with a truncated 8-episode season. Besides those 2 comedies, Hulu only has the shockingly under-talked-about Difficult People. Their 3 other comedies, The Awesomes, Hotwives, and Deadbeat, have been gone for a very long time now. 3 seems like a very low number, but you have to remember Hulu wasn't always in the originals business. The company was created by NBC, ABC, and Fox as a destination for viewers to easily watch episodes of their favorite shows the day after they aired. However, today's streaming competition has grown increasingly over the past 5 years, and reruns isn't really the way to run a business. Just look at Spike TV's change into Paramount Network, which will be its own story later this year on News Time. Foreshadowing. With the ending of 90% of its comedy shows, leaving only 1 from old Hulu still available to watch, and what direction is this new Hulu trying to steer? And where's Hulu going? In mid-October, Hulu premiered the Sarah Silverman hosted I Love You, America. It's the comedian's take on a talk show, but one that focuses on real issues like politics and race. The show's been in the works for just a few months, having been picked up at the end of last March. The Funny or Die produced late-night edition has the host seeking to connect with people whose ideals she doesn't quite understand. 1 minute, she's talking to an ex-Westboro Baptist church member. The next, she's speaking with hardcore conservatives. I Love You, America is endearing and funny, but it's made up of the new stink Hulu sprays all over its shows. The stench? It's something you've seen before. Netflix's originals share an essence that only Netflix shows have. It's a look, a sound, a feeling of sorts. Maybe it's the uncontrollable length of the episodes. It's hard to explain in words, but trust me, it's there. The Hulu smell feels like broadcast on steroids. Cursing is allowed, as is nudity, but act breaks disguised as commercial breaks help add to the tenseness some shows have. What's that? Commercials are those 30-second of product placements that you try to escape by cutting the cord and subscribing to 30 different streaming services. I mean, come on. Hulu's not stopping with its attempt at late night. In November, it'll premiere a show it bought off of the fallen CISO, the streaming network that was too good to be run by the crap pile that is NBC Universal. There's Johnny, comes from the mind of Paul Reiser, who wants to help recapture part of Johnny Carson's life as a host. Nothing is known about the show besides the cast and the backstory and other little details. A trailer hasn't even been released, possibly because of CISO's god-awful failure. You can say I'm bitter. That same month, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg's Future Man will have its day in the sun. It's a neat-looking show that should help Hulu gain momentum in the comedy world. One thing to note about the future of Hulu's originals is its move into high-concept TV. You remember the term. I've spoken about it before. This year, in fact. Well, you didn't watch the episode? Of course you didn't. I don't know why you would. Okay. High-concept shows are essentially ones that can be described in one brief sentence. Think Planet of the Apes, Jurassic Park, Alf, Toy Story. Pretty much a majority of the things that you love can be described as high concept. But is the shift to high concept a smart one? It's hard to say. High concepts typically, not always, but typically, go for flash over substance. Character development plays second fiddle to the cool things that can happen in a world where dinosaurs are brought back to life and run rampant on the island 4 times. That's not to say high concepts are terrible or negative or a crutch. They're vital for the industry. Is Hulu making the right choice in relying on the tried and true genre for comedy? It's hard to tell now, but it's a step in the right direction. They have a selection of new comedies coming in 2018, too. There's a partnership with Awesomeness TV about a lock-in graduation party for teens. John Early and Kate Berlant landed a pilot presentation. And that's pretty much it. Just look at this list from Hulu for its fall slate. It's practically barren, yet drama still outweighs comedy. But I have faith. Reruns won't be the only thing carrying the service for long. Hulu's making a change, and it should provide them with way more green. I'm so sorry for that pun. Because Hulu's green. And that's the news I have for you this week on C Plus News Time. Why don't you subscribe and check out one of our other videos? Of course, you can head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where there's so much that you can only buy it in cardigan form. You can follow us on Twitter at cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter at ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Tumble with us on Tumblr. And be sure to watch the ad after this episode. It's going to be an ad for wet socks. Wet socks!